That job you desperately need. That person you cannot stop thinking about. That approval you have been chasing since childhood. That outcome you have convinced yourself is the only acceptable one. Feel your chest right now. Feel the tension. The constant low-level anxiety humming beneath your surface. That is the feeling of attachment. And it is destroying you, because here is what no one tells you. The moment something becomes essential to your happiness, you have given it the power to annihilate you. You have placed a loaded gun in someone else's hand and begged them not to shoot, and they always shoot. Niccolo Machiavelli observed this pattern 5 centuries ago. He watched powerful men become powerless the moment they needed something too badly. He watched kingdoms crumble, not from external invasion, but from internal desperation. He understood a truth that will change everything for you. The person who needs nothing controls everything. Today, I am going to show you how to reach a state so psychologically fortified that nothing can touch you. Not rejection, not failure, not loss, not the opinions of others. But I must warn you, this requires you to release your grip on things you have been clutching your entire life. It requires a kind of death. And most people are not ready to die. Are you? Everyone is desperate for something. They are desperate for love, for money, for status, for validation. And this desperation leaks from their pores like a sickness. You can smell it in their nervous laughter. You can see it in how quickly they respond to texts. You can feel it in how they scan the room, hoping to be noticed. This desperation is repulsive. Not morally. Biologically, human beings are hardwired to move away from neediness, because neediness signals low value. It signals that you do not have options, that you are not desired by others, that taking you would be settling. Meanwhile, there is another type of person, the one who seems unaffected, the one who wants things but does not need them, the one who could walk away at any moment and be perfectly fine. Watch how people respond to them. They chase them. They offer them opportunities. They respect them without being asked. They feel an almost magnetic pull towards someone who radiates the energy of enough. This is not an accident. It is a law, a Machiavellian law of human psychology. Attachment repels. Detachment attracts. What I am about to share with you is not positive thinking. It is not about pretending not to care. It is about genuinely restructuring your internal world so that your well-being is no longer hostage to external outcomes. When you achieve this, you become something rare. You become untouchable. Why do you care so much? Trace it back. When you were young, your survival depended on being cared for. If your parents approved of you, you were safe. If they disapproved, you might be abandoned. And abandonment, to a child, equals death. So you learned to care intensely about what others thought. You learned to attach your sense of self to external validation. You learned that your worth was determined by outcomes outside your control. This was adaptive then. It is fatal now. You are no longer a child. Your survival does not depend on anyone's approval. And yet your nervous system has not received the update. You are walking around with outdated software, still reacting as if disapproval means death. This is why rejection hurts so much. This is why failure feels like annihilation. This is why you cannot stop caring, even when you know it is irrational. Your body believes the stakes are life and death, because once they were. Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by fear and desire in nearly equal measure. But he understood that fear was the deeper driver. And your fear of loss, your fear of rejection, your fear of not being enough, these are the chains that keep you attached. Person who has conquered their fear of loss has conquered their attachments. And the person who has conquered their attachments has conquered. The game. Here is how you do it. First, understand why caring too much pushes away the very things you want. Imagine you meet someone at a party. They seem interested. You exchange numbers. Now watch what happens inside you. You start thinking about them constantly. You check your phone every few minutes. When they text, you respond immediately. You start planning futures in your head. You become invested. And here is the tragic part. They feel it. Not consciously, but energetically. Your texts start carrying a weight of expectation. Your questions start feeling like tests. Your presence starts feeling like pressure. So they pull back. And what do? You grip tighter. You double text. You seek reassurance. You ask if everything is okay, and they pull back further. This is the physics of neediness. The tighter you grip, the more resistance you create. It is like trying to hold water. Squeeze your fist, and it escapes through your fingers. Open your palm, and it rests there peacefully. Now imagine the opposite scenario. You meet someone. They are attractive. You enjoy talking to them. But you have a full life. You have purpose. You have options. Whether or not this works out will not affect your fundamental well-being. Your texts carry no desperation. Your questions carry no neediness. Your presence feels light, easy, free. They are drawn in. Because there is no pressure. Because you are not trying to take anything from them. Because being around you feels like freedom, not obligation. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately. He wrote that men cling to those who seem not to need them and abandon those who cling. This is not cruelty. This is human nature. You cannot logic your way out of this dynamic. You cannot pretend not to care while secretly caring desperately. They will sense the incongruence. You must actually stop caring. Here is the most counterintuitive truth about power. It flows to the one who needs the interaction least. In any negotiation, any relationship, any dynamic between two people. Whoever can walk away controls the frame. Whoever cannot walk away is controlled. Think about your job. If you desperately need the paycheck, if losing this job would devastate you, you have no power. Your boss knows it. Your colleagues sense it. You accept treatment you should not accept because you cannot afford to leave. Now imagine you have 6 months of savings. Imagine you have other offers on the table. Imagine losing this job would be inconvenient, but not catastrophic. Suddenly, you carry yourself differently. You speak up in meetings. You push back on unreasonable demands. You negotiate from strength. Nothing external changed. You still have the same job, but your internal relationship to that job has transformed. And everyone can feel it. This is what Machiavelli meant when he wrote that a prince must never be entirely dependent on others. Dependency is weakness. Independence is power. The person who can walk away holds all the cards. But here is the key. You must actually be willing to walk away. Not as a bluff. Not as a manipulation tactic. As a genuine internal stance. If you bluff, they will call it. If you threaten to leave, but everyone knows you never would, you have lost even more power than before. This is why detachment must be real. It must be built on a foundation of self-sufficiency so solid that no single external thing can break you. When they know you could leave and be fine, they work to keep you. When they know you are trapped, they take you for granted. This applies to jobs, to relationships, to friendships, to every negotiation you will ever have. Build the life that makes walking away possible. Then watch how differently you are treated. Let me go deeper. Caring too much is not just about outcomes. It is about emotional control. When you care intensely about what someone thinks of you, you have handed them the remote control to your inner state. They frown, your stomach drops. They praise you, you feel worthy. They ignore you, you spiral. You are a puppet. And anyone can pull your strings. Machiavelli warned that the greatest danger to a ruler is not external enemies, but internal instability. A prince who can be emotionally manipulated is a prince who will be destroyed. The same applies to you. If someone can make you angry with a single sentence, they own you. If someone can ruin your day with a look, they own you. If your mood depends on whether someone texted back, they own you. This is not strength. This is slavery, dressed in the costume of caring. Emotional sovereignty means your inner state is determined by you, not by circumstances, not by other people, not by outcomes. Someone insults you. You observe it without reacting. Interesting, you think? They seem upset, but their upset is their problem, not yours. Someone rejects you. You feel the sting for a moment, then let it pass. It was not a match. You are still whole. Someone succeeds where you failed. You feel no envy, no bitterness. Their path is their path. Yours is yours. This is not coldness. This is freedom. When you stop caring about controlling what you cannot control, you gain absolute control over the one thing you can, yourself. And a person who controls themselves cannot be controlled by others. They become untouchable. So how do you actually stop caring? It begins with a brutal confrontation. You must look at everything you are attached to and ask yourself a terrifying question. What if I lost this? What if this never works out? What if my worst fear comes true? Sit in that darkness. Feel the fear. Let it wash over you. And then realize something. You would survive. If they leave, you would survive. If you fail, you would survive. If everyone disapproves, you would survive. You would hurt. You would grieve. But you would not die. The child in you believes loss equals death. The adult in you must teach it otherwise. This is the practice of negative visualization. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum. You imagine the loss before it happens, not to be pessimistic, but to diffuse its power over you. When you have already imagined the worst no longer controls you. The second practice is even simpler. Remind yourself constantly that everything is borrowed. Your job, your relationships, your health, your life. None of it is permanently yours. You are holding it temporarily, and one day you will return it. This is not morbid. This is liberating. When you truly accept impermanence, you stop gripping. You start appreciating. You hold things lightly because you know they are passing through. And paradoxically, this lightness is exactly what allows things to stay. None of this is about becoming cold. The greatest misunderstanding of detachment is that it means not feeling, that it means building walls, that it means becoming dead inside. No. It means feeling fully, but not being controlled by those feelings. It means loving without needing. It means wanting without being desperate. It means playing the game without being destroyed by the outcome. Machiavelli was not heartless. He loved Florence. He loved his friends. He loved life. But he understood that love must be accompanied by wisdom. That caring must be accompanied by sovereignty. You can want the relationship and be okay if it ends. You can pursue the goal and be okay if it fails. You can desire respect and be okay if it is denied. This dual capacity, to care and not care simultaneously, is the mark of psychological maturity. It is what makes you untouchable, not the absence of caring. But the mastery of it. Here is your challenge. Choose one thing you have been gripping too tightly. One outcome you have made essential. One person whose approval you have made necessary. And for the next 14 days, practice release. Every morning. Say to yourself, I want this, but I do not need this. My well-being does not depend on this. I release my attachment to this outcome. Feel the grip loosening. Feel the space opening. Feel the freedom returning. Watch what happens. Watch how your anxiety decreases. Watch how your confidence increases. Watch how the very thing you were chasing begins moving toward you. Because when you stop caring so much, you stop repelling. And when you stop repelling, you become magnetic. This is the Machiavellian code. Not cold, not cruel, but sovereign, untouchable, free. If this philosophy resonates with the part of you that is exhausted from wanting too much and gripping too hard, then subscribe to this channel. Not for me, for the version of you who holds the world lightly and cannot be shaken by it. That version is waiting. It is time to let go and become untouchable.